Have you ever really looked at a giant tree and wondered, how on earth does it get a drink? I mean, moving water hundreds of feet into the air with no engine? It seems totally impossible. But underneath the bark, there's an engineering marvel at work. So today, let's dive into the hidden highway inside every plant. Its absolutely incredible plumbing system. Okay, so this is the core puzzle we're going to solve. A plant can lift water, sometimes hundreds of feet, straight up, completely defying gravity. And get this, it does it all with no heart, no pump, not a single moving part. So what is the secret? How is that even possible? Well, let's break it down. So first things first, we really need to get a handle on the fundamental problem that every single plant, from a tiny weed to a giant sequoia, has to solve. And it all comes down to one thing: a constant, relentless 24/7 battle against gravity. For a plant, getting water from way down in the ground all the way up to its highest leaves, well, that isn't just a nice to have, it's a matter of life and death every single day.
So how does this whole journey even begin? Well, it starts deep underground with the plant doing something that's kind of like drinking through its skin.
The secret weapon here is a process called osmosis. Now, that might sound like a complicated science term, but the idea is actually super simple. Water naturally wants to move from an area where there's a lot of it to an area where there's less of it, as long as it can cross some kind of barrier. And this simple principle, it's the first key to our whole puzzle. Here is the perfect way to picture it. If you stick a grape in a really salty water, all the water inside the grape rushes out to the saltier side, and it shrivels up. But if you take that shriveled up raisin and pop it into a glass of plain water, the water rushes back in, and bam, it plumps right back up. It is the exact same principle at work. And that's precisely what's happening with a plant's roots. All those tiny little root hairs act just like the skin of that raisin. The soil has a higher concentration of water than the root does, so osmosis just naturally pulls water right out of the soil and into the plant. Step one of the puzzle, solved. Okay, so the water is in the plant. Mission accomplished, right? Not quite. Now comes the really hard part, the climb. Let's move on to the next part of the system, what I like to call the upward water elevator. So meet the xylem. This is the plant's internal plumbing. And what's amazing is that xylem vessels are basically microscopic straws. They're made from the rigid, hollow remains of dead cells, all stacked together end to end. This creates a perfect continuous tube that runs all the way from the deepest root to the highest leaf. All right, so we've got the pipes. But that just brings us right back to the million-dollar question, doesn't it? What's the engine? What force could possibly be powerful enough to suck water up these tiny, tiny straws for hundreds of feet against the pull of gravity? And the answer is a process called transpiration. And really, all that means is water evaporating from the plant's leaves. It sounds almost too simple, but this act of evaporation creates an incredibly powerful suction force, a tension that pulls the entire column of water up right behind it. The real action is all happening right here, on the surface of the leaves. See these tiny pores? They're called stomata. And as they open up and release water vapor into the air, every single molecule that escapes literally pulls another one up behind it, creating a chain reaction all the way down to the roots. This is the silent, invisible engine that powers the entire system. But hold on, that's only half the story. Because a plant's plumbing isn't just a one-way street for water. It also needs a super efficient food delivery service. So that brings us to the next logical question. The leaves are way up top, acting like these little solar-powered sugar factories, right? But the roots and the stem, they need that energy too. So how does all that food get from the factory down to every other part of the plant? Well, for that job, the plant uses a second, completely different set of pipes, the phloem. You can think of it like this. If the xylem is the water main bringing water up to the building, the phloem is the food delivery network, carrying all the sugary nutrients from the leaves and distributing them wherever they're needed for growth or for storage. So let's just put them side by side to make it super clear. You've got the xylem. It carries water and minerals. It's a one-way street, only going up. And it's made of dead, hollow cells. Then you've got the phloem. It's carrying food. It's a two-way highway. It can go wherever it's needed. And this is critical. It's made of living cells to manage this whole complex delivery process. Two totally distinct systems in one elegant design. So let's zoom back out one last time and see how this amazing plumbing is actually part of an even bigger, more elegant picture.
It's a system that truly breathes.
Remember these little pores? The stomata, the engine for pulling up all that water? Well, get this, they do double duty. They're also how the plant breathes, taking in the carbon dioxide it needs for photosynthesis and releasing the oxygen that, we all depend on to live. And that right there, that is the absolute beauty of it. It's not just a collection of different parts doing their own thing. It's one perfectly integrated system. The very same mechanism that pulls water up from the ground is what allows the plant to breathe in the building blocks of life from the air. Water up, food down, breathing in and out. It's all happening at once in perfect harmony. So the next time you see a simple plant, just think about that silent, powerful, incredible engine running inside it. It's a master of physics and fluid dynamics, solving some seriously complex problems with the most elegant, simple solutions, which really leaves you with one final thought. Is a plant just a plant? Or is it one of the most brilliant hydraulic engineers on the entire planet?